certainly one of those heroes that can play quite fast and still fits HFN's farming style. Flat cannon to clear out the summons here. You've got a lot of ways of clearing out the jungle very efficiently, so we'll see whether or not our Kotl can get those stacks up for HFN, but this is something we've seen him perform on before. It's a really good way of keeping track of that Weaver as well if you get your homing missile in. So you've got some way of figuring out how far he's running away with a Shikuchi. And it ties in well with Mars. Mars Gyrocopter is actually pretty devastating. You drop Arena, you get the call down on, you've got Freezing Field as well. It does line up nicely for some counter fights here from NoPing. Do have to go back to that point with the CM though. Like, this is not going to be a fun CM game. Not only do you have to worry about the Beastmaster in lane, you have to worry about trading against a Lion, who does have some pretty snappy right clicks now, all things considered, and has it's snappier than it used to be. Although the CM also got a bit tweaked up there, but you don't really want to trade too hard in that lane as a CM. Like, you spam your Frost Nova, and you're done. You have to watch for the boars running up at you. You have to watch for the Lion Impale. That can be a bit tricky, but if you do get a good position, you get a good route off, and then you have the Gyrocopter run in with Rocket Barrage, there are opportunities for NoPing to be aggressive as well. It just depends on how Unknown Team kind of space themselves. And I think when it comes down to that lane matchup, should be a bit easier for Unknown Team to punish the CM, but you're not going to slow down HFN. Like, the Gyrocopter should still be able to just, at worst, flat cannon from a mile away. So we'll see if they can actually put a dent in that farming pattern. We do have our mids left here for the last picks. You see the Puck and DP banned out by NoPing. Unknown Team just going through the Spirit Brothers. They take out the Ember, leaving the Void Spirit in the pool, but that could be something they look into for their own pick. But lots of leeway for that mid pick up here. Both sides are pretty open in how to close out their drafts.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Funny thing as well, John, and I know I've said this before, but every time we've questioned NoPing's Crystal Maiden, it always comes back to bite us. Because Matthew, if it is Matthew, he does an amazing job. Even Pandaboo, when he plays the Crystal Maiden, kind of just amazing the way they position to make it so that they're just never in the open. To get sniped by, you know, this Weaver or the Beastmaster or the Lion, it's always a real pleasure to watch how good the positioning is from these NoPing supports. Still, final pickup now. They are lacking a mid laner here, NoPing. I'd say you're going to want something to set a tempo and just be able to fight while your Gyrocopter just goes to the jungle and farms forever. We've seen the Kunkka a lot before, but no, they'll go for the Batrider this time as the Kunkka was banned out by Unknown Team. So Batrider is the pick. This hero, even if it received nerfs, John, coming back it seems. A lot of teams over the past couple days have been picking it up once again in that mid lane. And, you know, in all fairness, once you get the initial levels up, it does still seem very potent.
Yeah, it still is. Like, you have to respect the right-click power of a Batrider. Once you have, say, 4 stacks of Napalm on you, you're not going to be enjoying the trades early on. And even though it takes, like, 8 Napalm stacks now to clear out Ancients, you can still get there relatively easy. So it doesn't hurt the flash farm in the jungle. And the laning presence of the Batrider is still pretty good. This does give NoPing a very steady way of catching out that Weaver as well. You've got Lasso to just jump in, lasso him up if you catch him off guard, drag him back, and clean up. So NoPing does have a way of keeping that Weaver still and playing aggressive now as well. You were looking for something more active in mid. This is fairly active once you get your travels up. So NoPing does have a lineup that can go back to that playstyle, buy HFN the space he needs to farm up. We might see him go for the Ags build up here, as we tend to see, maybe into the Maelstrom, and just build up that way. Unknown Team, though, do have a lot of ways of closing out. They see the Batrider mid. They don't have a way of naturally breaking the lasso, but they can look for a laning matchup that doesn't go too bad. Maybe something ranged, or, you know, Void Spirit's an option. That is probably not the best. We've seen Void Spirit sometimes struggle against Batrider, but you play with the Pulse, and you can still find your last hits, and you hit a pretty good spike at 6-7 as well. So that could be an option for Unknown Team if they want to play with this tempo they've set for themselves. But they are taking their time this last ban out. Like, 30 seconds left in that reserve time here.
They'll go for the Void Spirit, so they don't seem to mind the Batrider matchup. Void Spirit just completely broken as a hero right now. Just doesn't care for anything, really. No matter what matchup it's in, it's just good, apparently. And, well, that has been the case, John. It continues to perform no matter how bad of a lane matchup it has. And we'll see how it does this game around. Personally, John, I would have loved to see Unknown pick up something like a Lina, just so they can actually win the mid lane. And of course, you have Laguna and Finger, which is always quite a bit of fun as well. But we aren't going to have that, John, because Lena's a garbage hero right now, and it's not going to ever be picked up by either of these teams. With that, these are the drafts, John. I'd like to ask you, straight off the bat, which one do you like better?
It's a bit close in draft. I think when it comes down to it, I'd probably prefer NoPings, just because this is something they're super comfy with. They've got really good wave clear to stop this Beastmaster push, especially with Matthew's Kotl, right? Like, it doesn't take much for a Kotl to just kill off the Beastmaster creeps once you have that Illuminate up at a good point. You stand back a mile away from your tower, just spam that spell out, and the push stops. Like, you do have some timings for Unknown Team to meet. Level 6, of course, very important for the Beastmaster in line, but we're also looking at whether or not Burna does this thing with the Weaver that we tend to see. Rush the Javelin, rotate mid for a fast push. We've seen that done across many teams, right? Like, that timing on Weaver seems very important, and I think looking for that mid-tier one is going to be key for Unknown Team to shut that map down from HFN. So they're going to have to maximize that early presence, hit those team fight spikes, but if NoPing stalls it out, which I think they can with this kind of lineup, if they stall it out long enough, this Jarcopper is just going to take off.
Yeah. You must admit, John, I do love the moves with that Weaver into the mid lane by the 5-6 minute mark. Like, just having that siege creep there at that 6 minute mark roughly, and just bringing the Weaver in with a Javelin to be able to go for a very early tier 1 push always kind of feels kind of nice to me, right? Because you get the tier 1 tower, and suddenly you've opened up the enemy side of the map. And it makes it very hard for anyone to comfortably farm, knowing that they don't have any towers to TP to if they need some help. So we'll see if they do get it done with this Weaver. But I personally love the move, and I hope Burna does go for it. It's also kind of nice with the Weaver as well, because you have the Germinate attack, which does make it so you actually push at a decent pace. And of course, with the Javelin, you have so much kill potential just immediately. Even though Javelin did get nerfed quite a bit, it's still just a broken item overall. Just too cheap for what it does. I'm sure Burna will probably replicate the same kind of thing that we've seen over and over again.
Oh yeah, and you know it's really important for them to get that mid collapse in this game more than usual. I think when you run that Beastmaster, you really need to find that mid tier 1 ASAP. Start pressuring the jungle, keeping those hawks up to keep vision up on HFN, and that's something they can play around with as well. Because it's got really good vision game just by having that Beastmaster, so you can expect them to contest that Jarcopper farm a lot more frequently on top of these objectives.
Oh, bit of a scuffle here down this top side. Proceed. Gonna get the bounty rune off the side of NoPing. Saw the Mars trying to contest there, but he was unable to really get there in time. So the Undying just going to run away with an extra bounty rune. Very happy about that, I'm sure. It's actually a very powerful lane as well, the Weaver Undying lane. Quite a disgusting lane to be against. Mind you, you are playing Mars Kotl, so it's not that bad. But if Oscar does get caught with his pants down, he could die very quick.
Oh yeah, he's got to watch his spacing. Strength heroes really don't enjoy going up against Undying, of course. Chesed, I think in this case, shouldn't focus too much on the Kotl. Like, it's range, it's hard to close the gap. If you just get a couple of the K-stacks on Oscar, then start getting some Shikuchis off, Oscar will drop really low. So, gotta watch that spacing. You are seeing Matthew do a good job in trying to zone out. He's gotten a few free hits onto Chesed already, so the Undying just going to have to sit back, play the spam game, and clear out some pressure for Burna. So it looks like they will get that job done. Gives us a time to look around down mid. You do see Dark Mago on his Batrider up against RoboZ's Void Spirit. And so far it's going pretty well for RoboZ. It's those initial levels for the Batrider. Just way harder to flash farm. He is getting a good amount of stacks onto RoboZ, but I believe Resonant Pulse might actually block that.
He gets it, John. First Blood is there for the Undying. I just looked over, seeing the Mars very, very low, but Chesed getting very, very early First Blood there and feeling very good about it, I'm sure. Of course, bot lane as well. Pandaboo going down to Wish. Drakil was around on the Beastmaster. Doesn't even have the balls up yet. Probably just spamming Wild Axes from a distance. Of course, they are up against HFN and Pandaboo, but that's already 2 kills the way of Unknown.
Yeah, it's a really good start for the side of Unknown. They're just working these aggressive lanes, and this is what we needed to see from them. As long as they find this early pressure, you're not going to be too dissatisfied. You are seeing issues now for Drakeel going for these wild axes, means that does not have the mana to trade, but should be able to just hold this lane fine once he gets a couple of regen items on. And this doesn't hurt HFN too much. He's still finding last hits. But you still don't want to feed away that CM. Like Pandaboo dying early on is not ideal. You're getting a lot more value here for Drakeel and Wish. You've got level 2 in the line, so you can just easily spam out your Earth Spike and then immediately mana drain up. And there's not much either side can do. Maybe Pandaboo comes in for the Frostbite, but it feels a bit wasted on the line, just getting that freeze off on him.
This mid lane, they almost ended up killing off the Void Spirit. Meanwhile, top lane, Burner barely avoiding an Illuminate there. As I was trying to say, John, the mid lane going a little bit rough now for RoboZ. Still CSing very nicely, but he's got no regen left, and Dark Mago is starting to get very aggressive on this Bat Rider. That Firefly, at least last time around, was hurting quite a lot. RoboZ actually forced the TP back towards tier 2, but Oscar now top lane is about to drop, not quite though. He got a spear off in time onto Burner, and that was enough for him to survive. Of course, he will get salved up there by Matthew and gets another spear off into the Illuminate. What? Burner is not going to die. He's going to survive just barely thanks to those stick charges. Of course, while that was happening, down a bot lane, they ended up killing off Drakeel on the Beastmaster.
Just so much early aggression coming through. Love to see it. This does favor Unknown just a bit more, but you can see NoPing aren't backing down. They've still got power in themselves in this laning phase as well. Finding that kill on bot is pretty darn big. Slowing down the Beastmaster is always nice. HFN now has a level advantage. So that's going to be something to watch out for. They are going to scuffle over these runes, but it's all the way up top instead.
It is. Nice Invis rune up at the top rune spot. Matthew is around trying to protect it for Dark Mago, but Shazim will come in and take it. Now an Aether Remnant's there into the Dissimilate, and RoboZ will be able to secure the kill and once again TP straight to his tier 1 tower. And while that was happening, Wiz actually ended up killing off Pandaboo.
Yeah, that was an interesting watch, just the support slapping each other. Of course, Lion does win out in the end because of his spells, and his damage is a bit better, so you get a reset in the CM. Not the ideal situation giving that to the Lion, as that does lead to some early itemization coming through here for Wish, but not the biggest loss as well. Still 1-4 start for Unknown. They're getting control all across the map, and
he got a bit confident there. Just seeing Pandaboo, but not really respecting the CM's presence. And yeah, HFN, he gives him the tip for that. Not sure what the idea was there from Drakeel, but he kind of just kept farming as if nobody else was there. And well, eventually HFN had salved up and it came in for a very nice kill. So that does mean Wiz was able to secure both bounty runes down at the bot lane. They weren't able to pick any up. Shazit, meanwhile, top lane, trying to go up there with Burner onto Matthew and Oscar. A lot of damage being dealt, but not quite enough to finish it off. They are also trying to protect that tombstone for now, but it looks like Oscar is going to be able to get it. Did you see it? Almost actually dies on the Undying.
yeah, he's lived really long at his Undying up top. He hasn't gone back for a full reset as well, so you're getting a lot of value from his presence, just not having to commit too much in terms of diving deep, and they're still getting a lot of value. Like, the farm coming out for Burna is pretty darn good. It's not matching up against HFN, but that is a Jar Copper with Flak, so you're always going to be a bit behind. You do have time to fight over these 6-minute power runes now, though.
Oh, there goes your Undying. Lasso committed. Nice easy kill there for Dark Mago, but now RoboZ wanted to try and trade. There's just no way he could get the damage out in time on the Void Spirit. Bit of a mistake there from the Undying, just coming in at very low HP and kind of expecting to walk away from that. Still, RoboZ does manage to get a DD rune for himself, so I guess there is a positive to this negative, but can he find anything out of it? Maybe Pandaboo. Looks like Pandaboo's already kind of accepted his death, but everything's missing.
What? Ooh.
They didn't try with the Hex first either. They just went straight for the Earth Spike. I think you probably could have waited for that Aether Remnant to at least get the Earth Spike or Hex first, but maybe just overly confident. Like, it's just a Crystal Maiden. We can kill her. But it didn't happen.
It's costly. You need these kills in the Void Spirit to really pile on. And now, because of that, Wish does get dived a bit, but HFN now is out of mana.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. Luckily, Drakil does not have level 6, so HFN doesn't have too much to be worried about. Of course, Wish didn't have it either. He's still level 4 on the Lion. And HFN is going to be able to salve up. And of course, Pandaboo going to be there to rejoin the lane and try to see if they can start harassing Drakil out of this lane a little bit. HFN's actually had to go through quite a few salves this game already, but I think most of them are coming from his CM.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. Pandaboo is stalling out his boots timing here, but doesn't matter too much. Look at HFN's farm. He's at 47 to 12. They're looking for this one in Drakil.
There. They missed the Illuminate, but they've got the call down on the Frostbite. Still Robo-Z going to come in and try and turn this around. They'll jump on the gyro. HFN, Hex is there. Robo-Z, he should be able to get enough, and he does. Now Pandaboo even getting roared up. Drakil wasting no time, and Matthew, he's going to be alright. Wish, he couldn't get the Earth Spike off in time. That's a great rotation from the Void Spirit, and that means Unknown will be able to finally get that Gyrocopter again, and of course they also get Pandaboo on top.
Yeah, that's the biggest killer they could hope for. They could find a freebie here on Shesset as well, Dark Mago.
They may. Dark Mago just going to chase him down with the Firefly, and of course it's a very easy kill with the Bat Rider. No real contest for Dark Mago right now. Burner, he's going to show himself, but you don't really want to be too close by, especially while Oscar's around on the Mars. It looks like Burner, he's just going to soak some XP. That's all he can do. Back to farming for the Weaver.
And
Extra kill bot lane goes down to Pandaboo. Kind of a similar story there, just a Frostbite into HFN's Rocket Barrage. Just way too much damage in the end.
And smoking the triangle though, Matthew.
He's in trouble. Aether Remnant again going to be off the mark, but it won't matter. As long as they land that Earth Spike, it's going to be a nice easy kill for Robo-Z. He does get it once again. That'll make it a 5-7 now. But I think the one real good thing for Unknown is the fact that Robo-Z is finding quite a few kills now across the map. This Void Spirit should be able to have a lot of impact even after the laning stage he's had up against this Bat Rider.
Yeah, I mean, he's still set for his power spike. The issue is Dark Mago is set for that as well. Already has a Travels up in the Bat Rider, is smoked up along with Matthew. They're going to look down bot. They do still have the lasso, so this should be fairly straightforward here.
Oh, Drakil. Yeah, he's gone. They've got the lasso. He thought about throwing Aurora out. There's absolutely no point doing so now. Tips come out again from Matthew. Drakil, perhaps just not expecting this many rotations to come down bot, but he's just such an easy target. As long as you land one spell on the guy, he's basically dead. Now Robo-Z's getting chased down, but he does have the steps available. Spear, not going to land, but a nice attempt from Oscar. And that's going to be enough from NoPing. They'll just back off, but going back to Drakil on that Beastmaster, it's getting to the point where you kind of... You don't want to fall for that again, because that's the 4th time Drakil's died now on that Beastmaster in the exact same spot. And you start to get a little bit concerned about what the game plan is if this keeps happening.
Yeah, I mean, his timings are a bit off. He just gets his Necronomicon 1 now, but we're not seeing that bot lane pressure on the tier 1, and it's mainly down to the fact that HFN just clears out these summons so well, but also because of just how stalled out the timings of the Beastmaster is. They do have Burna bot, so it looks like they might commit for a bit of a push, but they might lose their side towers if they're not too careful. There's some potency here on NoPing.
Yeah. They're onto HFN. Simulate, not going to land. Frostbite there from Pandaboo into the freezing field, but the Aether Remnant is going to cancel that one off straight away. Pandaboo going to try for the TP. It is barely not going to make it. Really just stretching the Crystal Maiden as far as they can every time. Of course, we also see Matthew getting the recall off into HFN now, and it's time to farm the triangle for the Gyrocopter, it seems.
Oh, yes. This is what we were looking for coming out from Matthew. He did get a good amount of stacks up, so HFN can just get that gold up. They do lose their bot tier 1, so you finally see that successful push coming out from Drakil. But the farm is still pouring in here for NoPing. So you still got to be cautious about that Gyrocopter. They could make a move up top, though.
They might try. Burner, he's trying to get some damage off onto Mago, but he's not really doing too much. Now the rest of NoPing are around, ready to go whenever. Burner going to be very careful to be caught by the lasso or the spear. Just see it, going to be targeted. Flame Break does land nicely, and they just go straight for a lasso. These earlier stages of the game, the Undying is just as strong, if not stronger, than every other hero, and they'll just take an easy lasso for that kill. And that's going to be enough. A nice easy tier 1 tower, and they are back to farming.
Yeah, I mean, they work this map so much better on the side of NoPing. They do lead slightly by 1k, but that's a lot of farm already on Dark Mago and HFN. You just can't flash farm the same way on Unknown. Like, the Weaver can run around, try to clear camps, but you really need to play the objective game with the Beastmaster. They do have Drakeel just farming the spot jungle. He could look to rotate mid, but he could get surrounded as well.
He may. Drakeel. So he's been spotted. Dark Mago could not get a sticky napalm stack onto Drakeel. Still trying to chase though. He's quite fast in this Bat Rider. But looks like he just wants to go after the boars. Drakeel is already well and truly out of there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, RoboZ trying to invade the Radiant Triangle now. You see it, gonna show himself. The Remnant catches out the Bat Rider, but they're still chasing this Undying, and that's gonna be a nice easy kill. Not much to say about it, NoPing. They are being very dominant already this game 1.
But that they are. Unknown are just not able to maximize these spikes that they have. They haven't gotten any good shove down mid. They're trying to get some catch-up form on Drakeel down. But if you don't progress in objectives, you're always going to be run down by NoPing. They're happy enough to just play around HFN if he gets invaded and keep this aggression up. They are smoked up looking down bot.
Oh, here we go again, Drakeel. Trying to apply some pressure, tries for the TP, but there's no chance in hell that's happening. He just kind of forces the arena there. Meanwhile, mid lane, once again, HFN going to be chased down, but he goes right for a TP play, and he's going to make it.
Oh, God.
Weird, she went for the Hex on Panda Boo. Lasso's there, they're going to kill off the Lion. That's going to be a direct trade. And Panda, yeah, he gets the tips. Panda Boo's like, thank you for hexing me. What? Why wouldn't you hex the gyro?
Maybe a spur of the moment decision, not quite lining up there for Unknown. It's costly. Like, you let the gyrocopter go away, HFN just keeps farming up. He has his Maelstrom. Looks like he might go for maybe an early Manta, if not SNY here with the Alacrity up, or still the Ags build-up. Lots of ways HFN can go with the gyrocopter with this kind of lead. Our Weaver, Burn is not falling too far behind. 6,000 gold, 1k behind is fairly big at 15 minutes, but also not the worst case. So you've still got some angles here on the Weaver. He is rushing his BKB. Looks like they do want to start fights early on with that core.
Things are definitely starting to look very rough now for Unknown. I mean, the Maelstrom's nice on Burner, but I don't really think he's getting too involved anytime soon. RoboZ, Oscar. Not going to be able to catch him. Panda Boo did not have Frostbite to lock him down. Just sit now, going to be spotted by Dark Mago. No lasso up, Roar is going to be there. Drakeel, he's going to try and turn this around. Call down coming out from HFN. They've got the Bat Rider though. They are going to lose the Undying and the Tombstone for this. But Drakeel should be just fine to remove himself from this scenario. In fact, RoboZ being caught out in the back lines. He's going to use up and be okay for now. He's going to try and run. Panda Boo could not reach him for another Frostbite. Instead, they get Burner, but he'll time-lapse away. Some close calls there, but Unknown. They do get the Bat Rider. They should be okay with that.
I mean, that's a fairly significant kill for Unknown. Dark Mago is up there in that worth, so it bounces them back in a fairly good way. You aren't happy about losing your 2 supports and the Tombstone. I think overall, HFN's also not upset. Like, this just builds into his farm advantage. He is going for the Ags build-up. He's 2 parts in, so he's just about 1,000 gold away from that next major power spike. And once you have that up in the gyrocopter, it should be an easy ride into the BKB, and we're still not seeing Unknown play with their push potential here.
Oh, they found another. Shazid. Been a tough game for the Undying. He's going to die for the 6th time this game. Every time he shows himself is almost guaranteed to be another death. especially if Oscar's around on the Mars. I don't know. Do you think Unknown's doing enough this game? They're falling behind by 2k, and you know that HFN's just going to escalate and farm faster and faster with this gyrocopter. Do you have faith that this Weaver is going to be strong enough later on?
It takes a lot for the Weaver to really be a big menace. My biggest issue right now with Unknown is that they are not pushing towers. You've got Beastmaster, you've got Undying, you just want to clump up, force some big team fights, and take some objectives, but they haven't been able to do that. We were also expecting more use of the Hawks for vision in terms of invading that jungle, shutting down HFN. Hasn't quite lined up yet. So the factors that Unknown have to play against this farm style that NoPing has isn't quite there yet. They might be able to get punishment on HFN, but a good scan should save our gyrocopter here.
Yeah, very smart farming there from HFN, using the homing missile to pull the large camp over to the left side, making it so he doesn't actually have to get close to the farm. However, they make the jump in the backlines. They've already blown him up. Didn't even get to see it. Pandaboo now also caught out, is probably going to die. And well, that's what you want to see from Unknown. Just grouping up as a team and making these big rotations.
Yeah, that's the big kill they were looking for. They find it. They lose a big objective in exchange for that, though. Mid-tier 1 falls. So it's still not the cleanest. They want to transition into an objective. They will find a top-tier 1. Not the same weight as a mid-tier 1 going. This should allow more movements into the jungle, though. That's what Unknown needs to really secure. Maybe dropping a forward ward would help, but it has been heavily contested, so they might just rely on the Hawks. But now, with only the finger being really expended, they could look down mid if they wanted to. Just have to be cautious about the Jar being back up. HFN, although he died, did finish up the Ags before doing so. So he's got his stats up, he's got so much more right-click damage as well. Can be tricky fighting into that Jar now.
Can be. As we kind of saw, if they can just catch him out with the stun, they can pretty much blow him up real quick without a BKB up yet. And I think that's key for Unknown at this point of the game, is to make sure HFN does not get a BKB up before they can kill him a couple more times. Still, they are going to go for a Roshan play now. No ping. The pings are coming out from Unknown side of things. They are aware that this Roshan is probably happening. The Hawk will now guarantee that it's happening. Remember, the Hawk was scouted out, but they've got to make a play. Roshan now out of the pit. They jump in with the Hex. Arena down as well. Raw being committed. They got the Bat Rider. They've almost killed off Oscar as well, but the Spirit's going to be there. It's the Illuminate. Oh, Matthew, a great Illuminate now, getting a double kill, and now Robo Z also going to go down. A terrible fight there for Unknown. The arena from Oscar John, just perfect. And Matthew just getting a great Illuminate through everybody. Just a bit too much damage out from NoPing.
And this is what we talked about from the draft. They've got great area control, great combinations with Arena. HFN now, he turns on Flak Cannon, you melt. The damage coming through is just too much to handle. And Unknown, they found it at the right time, but they couldn't get the targets they want. Wish had to blow his finger on the Bat Rider. They had to get the Hex off onto other heroes as well. And it's just not what you want. You want to blow up Gyrocopter every single time. HFN is just such a big threat with the gold lead he has built up that you might have to just really throw your body for it to take him out first, worry about everyone else after. Just really good positioning there to deny that off, and the response from Unknown a bit slow, but they could catch HFN.
Burner. He's going to be speared up.
This'll come in handy.
HFN going to be just fine. He already has 3k gold on that gyrocopter now, so the BKB could be coming out at any moment. I think that is exactly what he'll go for in this gyro. Just go straight for the BKB rush and remove a lot of the damage and control that is coming out from Unknown. Of course, you still have to worry about the Roar, but if that's the only thing you have to worry about, it's definitely worth picking up the BKB. Looks like Matthew's going to bring HFN down towards the bot lane, and they might just get started on that bottom tier 1 tower. HFN, of course, will go ahead and just start stealing some farm away from the triangle as well.
I mean, just being really efficient on the map. And again, that's something NoPing does a lot better. They've got better wave clear, better ways of clearing out camps and waves. You do see Unknown trying to smoke around. They could catch them on the flank while they're trying to push this tier 1 bot.
Be a great team fight if Unknown could get the right target. Pandaboo, probably not the target you want to start on, but Dark Mago might be, and they got the Aether Remnant there. They got a lot of damage out on that Batrider already, and they're just going to roar him up. Make sure he dies. HFN also being caught out. That's a massive target here for Unknown. HFN, he'll drop the call down, but it is going to do him no good. He'll lose the Aegis, but he is all alone in the woods, surrounded by unknown figures. That's a great team fight there from this Dire side, and even though they lost that bottom tier 1 tower, who the hell cares?
Yeah, that's the cleanest fight coming out for Unknown in this past game. Find the biggest targets they want. They do manage to get some good spell uses from their ults as well. And rather unfortunate for HFN. He tried to camp in the woods, spotted out by the Hawks, and just not safe at all. And Unknown now should look to capitalize. They're looking down mid. They want that tier 1. And with the potential they have for push, they should be able to find it. However, respawns are here.
Yeah, going to try and defend that mid-tier 1 tower here, NoPing, as they jump in onto Shazid. That'll be the Undying once again being caught, and it's going to be a nice, easy kill there for Dark Mago. They even get his courier. Just making sure there's no traces of the Undying left. Matthew now trying to chase down Drakil, is going to go for a recall. Drakil going to go for a TP, and is going to make it out. They only get the Undying for their trouble, but they do protect that tier 1 mid tower. But now Unknown, they're picking up the location of NoPing. But it seems as though they're not going to try and make another team fight happen quite yet. It looks like for now they're going to be more than happy to just back off and maybe just wait out some ultis first before they go back for another fight.
They do have this Ags reveal on Robo-Z. They've got the AoE silence on Resonant Pulse. That could be devastating for NoPing. They don't have BKBs up yet, at the least on Gyrocopter. HFN still flying out the recipe along with the Ogre Axe. So that could cause troubles for the Gyro if you're not careful, although.
Oh, Remnant is there. BKB popped by Dark Mago to make sure he can't just die. That's going to be it. I suppose you do get the BKB charge forced out of Dark Mago, and that was his 10-second charge. It's going to feel quite nice for Unknown, just chipping away at that. You are still lacking a bit of damage on this Weaver, so I think you are going to have to spend a bit more time farming here if you are Burner.
Yeah, it's not at the point where the Weavers just takes over in terms of damage output yet. You do see Unknown trying to clump up. They've got Roar up. They don't have Finger. No, it's just up now. So they can still play around if they want to and try to jump that triangle. The issue is they don't have a higher ground vision, so they're going to be playing for the low ground here.
Yeah, they're not really going to go for the fight either. At least I hope not, but they're going to try now, apparently. Straight onto the Coddle. They get the silence off, but Matthew's going to be okay. He'll survive through the initial burst. Now Oscar gets an Arena Spear off, but the Blinding Light gets him out of the arena. The Void Spirit going to survive another day. Now Shazid going to die on the Undying. Dark Mago going for a lasso, does catch out the Beastmaster, and that'll be a second. Bit unfortunate there for Matthew. He actually ended up knocking out the Void Spirit from the arena. But regardless of that, they still do end up getting the team fight their way.
And that's really well timed for Matthew as well. He just bought out the Ags in the side shop when they jumped him. So they had to deal with Will-O-Wisp right then when they decided to jump. And just a bit costly for Unknown. They couldn't find heroes they want. They found no kills in exchange. And if you're NoPing right now, you're feeling really good. 9k up, 20-16. You can start looking for more objectives if you want, and you can force fights. You just have to be careful about that silence coming through.
Robo-Z going to jump in after the Mars now, but he's a tanky boy. Well, hex him up. Flame Break going to be on target. Robo-Z having to use both his steps to get away. While this is happening, HFN is still just split pushing the top lane, getting that tier 2 top tower, and trying to force another team fight, it seems. They haven't got Lasso up, but they must be feeling very confident here with the goal difference that they do have. Oscar, not going to go for the arena, does blink out, but now he does with a great arena. Catching 3, they'll get Robo-Z out of there, but they've lost Wish, and Burner, he's still trapped in. He's trying to fight up against HFN, but he's just way too tanky. He can't kill Pandaboo either. The Crystal Maiden just going with the Glimmer and surviving. Onto the Beastmaster they go, Drakil. is going to die, and NoPing just making it look very easy. In fact, Rakil gets another tip from HFN, and Oscar will join into boot.
This'll come in handy.
Yeah, it's not been a smooth game for Drakeel. He has to constantly pump out these roars when he's just about to die to stall out any further jumps onto their backline. And Unknown just dropped these heroes like flies. They haven't lost a Burner yet. The Weaver has been living through and trying to farm up. Issue is it can't keep up against a Bat Rider and Gyro. And the high ground now under siege. No roar to play with. Fairly long cooldowns. They should at least find melee racks.
Oh, great spear there from Oscar. Can they get a lasso? Yeah,
Oh,
they
no.
can. They've got the Void Spirit. Robo Z. He's not going to survive. The Soul Rip just not enough. Oh, this is such bad news for Unknown. They're missing that Void Spirit for another 40, and now another spear out from Oscar, just being a real nuisance. They get the call down. They'll kill off Shacid. Wish going to come in for an Earth Spike. Burner, he's going to try and fight. HFN, he's just going to back out. He's still got the BKB charge ready to go. They might even turn right back around. Burner, his BKB's over. They kill off Oscar, but Dark Mago's there with the Firefly. But no, there is a roar out. They do at least get the Lion, but they are going to lose their Pat Rider. And now Burner going to try and clean up, but HFN with the Frostbite there from Pandaboo is not going to be enough. Still going though, Blinding Light out with the Arena now from Oscar, killing off Shacid into Burner. They missed the spear. They still want to chase down the Weaver, but I think Burner should be just fine. I say that, he's underneath the Sentry Ward right now. Oscar's still chasing, and he's going to get the Yules off. Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Do they have the damage? I don't think they do. Oscar, he has a spear. He's going to miss. God's Rebuke's also there, and he does get him. Nice Crystal Nova there from Pandaboo to give the vision over. That'll be your Weaver dead without buyback.
Yeah, that's massive for the side of NoPing. They might have lost a couple of heroes in that fight, but HFN was still alive throughout that. He's just farming into this Butterfly now. They managed to get the range racks, which isn't the biggest loss for Unknown, so they can still hold out for this. Melee racks, the issue is you're dealing with a very farmed Gyrocopter now. 19k on HFN. It looks like he's playing Alchemist at this point, right? But with how far ahead he is, just very efficient on the map, Unknown has just not been able to punish that farming game. And this is something NoPing does literally in every series they have, in almost every game. They give HFN a heavy farming core, and Unknown, I mean, they had the options to go hunting in the jungle, but they just never played around that timing. They're going to get pressured on their top tier 3 now. They do have a BKB up on Drakeel. He just needs to find the right target with the roar now.
Gonna be a very hard defense here for Unknown. HFN just so confident on the front lines, but he's going to lose a lot of mana there to Wish, so doesn't really have enough, but there's Matthew with the Chakra Magic to fill him back up. Lasso now, they've caught out Drakeel, the Beastmaster again. Drakeel still alive, able to get the roar off in time. He's going to go for a run with the BKB. They've lost Shacid though. Burner going back in, they've caught off Oscar, now the Hex is there on the Gyro. They might get HFN, he finally gets the BKB off, and they might just have to back. Unknown, Wish going in for another Earth Spike. Illuminate there onto Robo Z, they would just love to kill off Pandaboo. And it looks like they just may. They have the control for him and he does finally die. On the brighter side for Unknown, they do protect the melee barracks, so they lost the range, but it's not all too bad.
And they keep doing this over and over. The melee racks lives through every single time, which is great news. They need to find some better targets there, but really good use of that BKB from Drakeel, ensuring that they did find some control out. There is the next row shop, and they do spot it out in Unknown. They're going to try to go for it, knowing that the Mars is down for a bit longer, and this can go fast with a Beastmaster, but there's an opportunity for NoPing to come back in.
Yeah, they're going to buy back. Pandaboo not even thinking about it. Ball down there, they've got the Will-O-Wisp down as well. Now the jump in though, they want to take the fight. Unknown before Pandaboo gets there. They are going to kill off Dark Mago straight off the bat, and now Pandaboo, he just bought back. He's going right back to the grave. And NoPing have made a massive error there, trying to go for that Roshan. As they found even more, the Hex is out. They've got the Coddle now, Matthew. Oh no. 4 down, no buybacks on the side of NoPing. Oh, they just kind of rushed in one by one, but the Roshan had just started. They had time.
That was not the play. That was not the play. They couldn't get the BKBs off on their Bat Rider here, which might have helped, but the roar, the stacking of stunts was just perfect coming out from Unknown. And NoPing just kind of fall flat, so they give away Aegis and Cheese. Not the best bit of news. A bit of a bounce back for Unknown, though. Gives them an opportunity to find these objectives on the map. Mid-tier 1 has been alive for way too long. They're going to look to maybe apply pressure onto that, but they are dragging the heroes in, so they should get that done. Respawns are coming out soon for NoPing, so I'm not sure if you can really find a tier 2 at this moment. You might need to go back for a reset, but they do have alt spells up on Unknown, so they could look for that angle if it finds itself.
They could. What do you do now if you're NoPing? I mean, you've still got this massive net worth advantage. HFN is still a real problem in this gyrocopter. He's still got just about 4k gold in the bank account right now. So he may just want to buy out a Satanic or something and go for the next fight afterwards. They're going to smoke up. They'll see Burner down to that bot lane on the Weaver. He does have Aegis Cheese, so he's not going to be an easy target to kill off. Is Sakuchi in though? This could be dangerous, but Mago doesn't want to start. Instead, Hex is there, Arena drop, but Drakil got the BKB off in time. They will kill off Shazid. The Undying is gone. Mago looking for a lasso. Burner gonna lose the Aegis. And this will be the lasso they wanted. Aether Remnant gonna protect him. BKB not gonna help though. The lasso gonna make it very easy to kill off the Weaver. And Unknown maybe just getting a little bit too confident there, not respecting the net worth difference. Do get punished. As Matthew was trying to find a bit more. Oscar, oof, that would have been a close spear. Still NoPing, they immediately took down the Aegis and the Weaver. And now it's into a tier 2 bottom tower.
Yeah, they're going to find this outer tower real quick. They do need the creep wave to catch up, but there it comes. They can look for the high ground once more. There's no buyback here in Burna. He's trying to build into an MKB to deal with that butterfly. Does mean that he's going to be down for less than a minute. Some opportunities to try and keep that high ground push. Without the lasso, the team fights can get complicated. There is a BKB up as well in RoboZ, so he's got some immunity here.
Tier 3 taking a lot of damage. There's your Hex out. Raw is there as well. They have the Mars under control, and Oscar is going to die. But now, how do you deal with HFN? Well, they're going to try. They can't really do it quite yet. They've lost a lot more themselves. He's low, but he is life-stealing, so they're going to jump in, but a BKB is going to be forced out. But again, they can't finish off the racks. Wish now with the Hex locking down the Bat Rider and the Aether Remnant, even catching out Pandaboo, but now the freezing fill down. Oh, Pandaboo just turning it around on the Crystal Maiden. He's going to die in the end, but it's well worth the trouble. And so now all lanes are just exposed. The top racks, in fact, is dying as we speak to a big creep wave. But Burner's going to take care of it. But now if you're NoPing, you're just going to go back, reset, and eventually one more team fight occurs, and if you can win that out, the game's over.
Oh yeah, and NoPing has all the cards on their hand now. That was Aegis and Cheese on Unknown. They lost Aegis early, the Cheese was popped as well by RoboZ, so they don't have any of that sustain to play with anymore. The Satanic is finally up on HFN. He's been holding out in that for such a long time, and now he can literally just stand there, pop the Satanic, and even if he's stunned up because of the Aghanims, of course, he can just lifesteal right through, so it's going to be a lot harder to get the damage off onto this gyro, and that's just going to allow HFN to stand and fight a lot better in those high ground pushes. They can finally start to eye down some of these last objectives on the map. Unknown, there is still room to grow. MKB is up on Burna, so he can pierce through the evasion on the gyrocopter, try to get some damage through. They need to find these angles. So much is reliant here on the roar. Like, they have to find the right target, get the stuns through with the Beastmaster and the Lion, and then get the number of damage through there. So they need to find that angle, find the control as best as possible if Unknown wants to try to reel this game back into their hands.
Recall. Call down. This you don't really mind wasting cooldown. It's such a low cooldown anyway. It's kind of like whatever. Don't really need it anyway. Into the mid-racks they go. HFN. Looking to get started. Unknown, they're holding the high ground on the triangle. They're going to try and smoke from the backside. See if they can get a good team fight by picking somebody off initially. Drakil may have made it obvious with the wild axes. NoPing, now they're going to break the smoke on Shazid, so the Undying is going to die. Now the lasso's out. They've got Drakil as well. Both heroes without buyback. The tips are out again. And I'm pretty sure they saw those axes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. They knew something was up. Bit of a mistake from Unknown. They're going to be down 1 hero down because of that long respawn Beastmaster. So they're going to lose these racks. Maybe they can hold out, though.
Well, they're going to try and go after this Bat Rider, but the lasso's already been used up. I don't think he minds. Now the Will-O-Wisp has been dropped, and they have the Lion down. Burner, he's popped the BKB, he's popped the time-lapse, but he does hardly any damage. Even with the MKB up, HFN just does not care. And this is looking like a pretty big GG. NoPing, even with the ping disadvantage, confidently taking game 1. And I mean, in all fairness, it's not over yet. They haven't called it. But they are onto the tier 4 towers. And Unknown, they might just try one more time. Well, we've seen this before. NoPing can just kind of ignore them and go for the Ancient. They jump in now. They have Shazid down. He's going to buy back, but you've already lost another, and that's going to be Burner. Burner going down. Now the call down is there. Lasso catching out the Void Spirit, and that's it. They've called it. What a spear out from Oscar to kill him off as well.
Jeez. NoPing. Just complete domination, start to finish. It looked good for Unknown in a couple parts. It looked like they had pretty decent lanes, but then you saw Drakil die a bit too much down bot. They couldn't meet the timings the Beastmaster wanted to hit, and because of that, they couldn't go for those early pushes. The itemization in Burna as well, he opted for Power Treads and Wraith Band instead of that Javelin Rush, so that meant he wasn't able to get the rotation mid for that push, and it took too long for Unknown to play around the push. When you get the Beastmaster off lane, you need to get these objectives fast. You need to watch the jungle, prevent the Gyrocopter from farming, and they were trying a couple of points. It did just feel a bit too late, too little too late at that point. So we'll see if Unknown team corrects that. You also have to remember, NoPing, you pointed it out, they were playing on Peru. They're Brazil-based. So the next game is going to be in Brazil. They're going to have better ping going into that next game. That could be a factor here for Unknown team as well.
We'll find out, John. Of course, we are going to go into a quick break, but after that break, we are going to be back with Game 2's draft. We'll see you all again in about roughly 10 minutes.